I don't know how we ended up with a whole bunch of book and author AI drama, but we'll talk about this. And again, addressing the elephant in the room, wow, my setup looks different. And it does because your girl is in her grandma's house in China right now. So, yippee! I'll be filming like this for a while, so I hope you're okay with it. All of this starts with this thread written by Ruts Diaz. Rut writes, I'm tired of seeing authors and artists proudly defend and humanize AI while blatantly stealing from real creators. I've just been made aware that somebody took an illustration I commissioned from an artist I admire, ran it through AI, and posted it as their own work. You don't love the craft. You don't respect it. You are not a writer, not an illustrator, not an artist. You are just producing without sentiment, without morality, without care. You became the machine itself. It sickens me. And a commenter adds, I'm shocked. Let's all report this clumsy plagiarist. And Ruts adds, well, she finally deleted it, but it's sick. Every time I talk to her, it's ridiculous. I am so done putting her in the shadow. She claimed she did the art herself. Then people started to call her out and said that a friend made it, and then she started posting proof of her drawing it, and it was literally her tracing the AI illustration. The first one is the art of my characters that I commissioned by BB Riches_. And the blue one is the AI one. She blocked me, so I think that's proof enough. So let's take a look at the pieces here. This pink one is the piece made by BB Riches for Ruts, and this is super cute. I love the really pink styling that is happening here and the expression on her face. And this is the other post in question by user Madeline Sarah. I also want to add, don't send hate to any parties involved. That is not what this is about, and that only makes you a meanie. I also think it's interesting on a complete side note because when this was first posted, which was 4 days ago, I actually saw it and went to look up their account on Instagram and then it was gone. So maybe they deactivated for a couple days, but they're back now, so I don't know. And it's a piece of two characters standing kind of back to back. One has long curly dark blue hair wearing a navy blue princess dress, and the other person kind of has this roguish outfit on with what looks like pierced ears. And at first I was kind of it's a bit hard to tell if they took actually your piece, the piece that the artist made you, and ran it through AI. The styling does look really similar. And then the more you look at it, and then the more suspicious it kind of gets. The background, for one, looks really similar. The background is like a sky, right? But just please note that all of the clouds kind of point into the characters like so. And that's not a unique concept to BB Rich, the artist, But that similarity is a bit interesting, and the hair is really similar, and the headband is really similar between the two female characters. Kind of going back to this piece as well, so you can kind of take a look at it again with the same headband, the very similar hair rendering. Our male lead also has the same earring, or a very similar looking earring. This one, honestly, is the most damning of all. We have the male lead holding the hilt of a sword, and the sword has a sort of knuckle protector that kind of wraps around. I don't know the official name for it, but that metal piece that wraps around and connects from the hilt to the end, it melts straight into the index finger of the hands. Straight into it. A human artist would almost never make a mistake like this. Because how? And then attached are close-up photos of the piece in question, and here you can see again that headband that is present. It has some sort of pearl beading on it. The details do look a little bit finicky, and it could be because it's AI. It could also be because this is a zoomed-in image, so it might just lose quality because it's zoomed in. Then we have the close-up of the shoulder detailing on the dress, and it looks like there's supposed to be lace interwoven in between. And this is where the lace detail starts getting very interesting, especially the lacing kind of on the edge of the sleeve up here on the top by her neck. And then here we have a close-up of the guy's face. And I just want you to note again, the earring looks a bit interesting. It looks very similar to the earring the other male lead is wearing. And this is another close-up of the chest area of the woman, and you can kind of see the hands here. The fingers are a bit interesting. They're just really long. It could be artistic choice here. I do feel if you were to, have your fingers present like this index finger kind of looks like it's separated from the rest of the fingers on the hands. It's quite far away. and not attached to anything, actually. So then we have a speed paint. This was posted by Madeline Sarah, and the caption reads, "For everyone asking, this was the first rough sketch that I sent the artist slash my internet friend for my commission idea." So that wording is a bit interesting, and you can see kind of like the sketch here. And the way that she draws the sketch is really interesting. Oh god. Look, I just want to add, by the way, big disclaimer, every artist has their own drawing style and their own drawing method. Some people start with the head, some people start with the body. It's not as common, but people do it. Some people start with the, different parts of the faces. The way you block the body is different. If you went to art school, they might have taught you one thing. If you learned traditional, like by yourself, you might have like just done it a different way depending on, I don't know, which YouTube video you watched, right? It's just a bit interesting because you watch the way that she sketches and it looks like she's tracing something, for lack of a better explanation. She draws the head and then she draws the neckline. But because like the torso is completely turned and relative to her head, she's kind of looking back, it's a really awkward pose to be drawing like that. Like, typically, if you're drawing a much more dynamic pose where like the torso is turned very differently from the head or whatever, you would kind of assume that maybe you might need some sort of skeletal blocking, unless this is a pose that you draw so frequently you can draw this from your memory. So it's a bit interesting she goes for that. And then she starts drawing the hair. So she starts from the bottom of the hair and then draws upwards towards the crown of the head and then just stops. And then goes on to draw the rest of the body. And then once the sketch is basically around this point, now we have like a little bit of the hair on the right side. Then she decides to add the cross on the face. And what I mean by this is like if you draw a head, you typically will draw kind of like a cross on the face, one line to kind of like signify the eye level and one to signify the center of the face. And it will represent like the way the head is turned, whatever. That was drawn like way after everything else, which is just a bit interesting. Typically, that's one of the first things you would sketch out. Again, everyone has their own process. This is just very rare to see. And then the sketching continues. And then the sketching of the male lead follows a very similar, interesting sketching method. They draw in the head, only the right arm, then the pants, and then the forearm for the left arm. So just the forearm, right? The upper arm is not drawn in yet. And then the upper arm gets drawn in. So just the order of the way things are drawn is just a bit interesting because... Not saying that you can't draw like that. It's just starting from a straight, blank, white canvas. It's really difficult to draw like that. Really difficult. Even the most professional artists with a lot of experience, to get the pose, posture, body turn, everything correct on a dynamic pose like that on the first go, they would need some sort of blocking, some sort of readjustment, whatever. And then what has me even more confused is the caption. Because the caption, again, reads that this is my rough sketch that I sent my artist. But this is the sketch to the final piece. So did you make a sketch, then give it to your artist, for your artist to render your sketch? For that to then be the final piece? That's really uncommon. Very heard of for you to hire an artist and you to sketch some stuff out on your own. Here's an example of the hair. Please make it look better. Here's an example of the clothes. Do this and this, but then like do it in your own style, providing the most references possible for your artist. We love that. You don't often see people hire an artist and give them a sketch and be like, yeah, just take this sketch is perfect, but for some reason I don't want to finish it and I'm gonna hire you and you just complete it. It happens sometimes, but it's really rare. Because typically, if that's the case, you just draw it yourself. And Rutz adds, when people started to call her out because it's just that obvious, she claimed that a friend of hers made it. And when I had the courage to reach out to her, she said, quote, an artist from Tumblr, end quote, did it, and proceeded to send me a fake account with no portfolio, with only one post posted 6 hours ago. I begged her to delete it and stop stealing from real creators because this is not the first time she posted AI stuff. She ended up deleting it and blocking me. Please be careful what you share with this girl. And this is apparently the Tumblr page in question. 6 hours ago. Interesting. It's not unheard of for artists to not have like a prominent social media presence because they want to focus on their art instead of like marketing themselves on social media. But like, if you found this artist on the internet, how did you find them then if they don't have a social media presence anywhere? Like, That logic just makes no sense, because if you hired them, you must have seen some portfolio, some example of their work, whatever, on some social media page, and then you could just link that one. Like, oh, they're like not active on Tumblr, but I found them on Twitter, or something, something. So you mean the Tumblr with a post 6 hours ago, way after your art piece was created? How'd you find them then? Another commenter says, I think they deleted it. And Rutz adds, yes, she deleted it. And yeah, it's insane. Mostly because we know damn well we can tell. And there's a lot of proof. She also used to follow me and participate on giveaways and say how much she loves my characters and book. And then one day she posted AI art back in June. So I unfollowed her and she saw and unfollowed me too. So yes, she knows about the existence of me and my book and my characters. And also, Rutz did have a reference to Sarah using AI in the past, and the reference says, this was the first time she was caught using AI. This is not the first time. She follows a pattern. She posts AI stuff, people call her out, and then delete it. Time passes, then she repeats the circle. She finally blocked me, but I really hope she stops stealing from real creators. And this is one of Sarah's posts that has also, from my knowledge, been deleted, and it says, so I asked AI to draw my characters, Ethan Rivers and Grace March, in Disney style for fun, and I'm in love. Usually I am totally against AI, but the pictures turned out so sweet, I just had to share them. Which is interesting, because then if you're against AI, then why did you use it? Unless maybe they're like only somewhat against it? I don't know. Just interesting. But it is to show that, hey, they have used it in the past, which just shows a higher likelihood, in my opinion anyways, of using it in the future. So another commenter adds, I'm so happy more people are speaking out about this. It's so sad to see many people still believe her. Rut says, truly, since this is not the first time that has happened. She's now saying I'm a bully and a stalker and that I'm jealous and obsessed with her. I am sick of it. Another author is calling her out too. I hope this ends soon, because she will do what she always does, continue to use AI and keep manipulating readers and authors. And here we have a story post by user Dreamy Alora, who writes a little statement about the situation with Madeleine Sarah. Here's what people accuse her of copying others. 1. Made a post with AI a while ago. 2. Posted the character art for her new book and said it was her drawing, even said thank you to people complimenting her. 3. Changed the caption to, quote, a friend drew it for me, end quote. 4. Then changed the caption again to, quote, an artist on Tumblr made it for me and I paid for it, end quote. We'll put evidence in next stories. 5. Apologized and said her artist probably used AI. Problem. The artist she commissioned only ever made one post on Tumblr this month and isn't found anywhere else. Besides, she copied a cover idea from a creator who has less followers than her, and proceeded to post a story of her friend making fun of that person, saying she has double the amount of followers and she wouldn't need to steal. Stealing from bigger creators is one thing. Stealing from smaller creators, then proceeding to make fun of them is another. She could apologize and everybody would move on, but no. She's twisting the whole story to make herself look better, since it involves friends of me. I don't want to stay silent about this. She also copied my best friend's post and never gave any credit whatsoever. Keep in mind, she has much less followers than Madeleine does. So here are conversations in DMs where Madeleine said, thank you, that's so sweet. It took me months. I had to get help from friends and I watched tutorials because I actually can't draw. But I'm so happy with how it turned out. And then in kind of like some callouts about the hand having an awkward number of fingers or whatever, she says, don't pay attention to the fingers, I can't draw them for life. And then these are the side-by-side of the alleged copying of the small creator's post. This big one, again, the hands, especially with the sword just melting into the hand here. And then in a reply to somebody kind of calling her out, Madeleine says the one who buys followers, LMAO. And another commenter says, meanwhile, this is apparently art that took her 3 months, complete with awful smudgy AI tattoo. And then here's the piece in question where it says, character art reveal, this took me without joking 3 months, never doing it again, haha. And then we can see the hands of the male lead with the tattoos that look really smudgy and they're all melting into each other. Not to mention, like, the hand has really wonky looking fingernails. And I think, honestly, the caption is really telling, like, oh, this took me 3 months, never doing it again. This style of rendering is a lot more simple than the other piece that Rutz had posted, which was the one with the blue background of the clouds kind of pointing into the character. The initial piece that was like, hey, this looks like you took my art and ran it through AI, right? I'm not saying, like, simple rendering is bad, but that piece has a very high level of rendering. So what do you mean? Oh, this took me 3 months. This was so hard. I'm never gonna do it again. Blah blah blah. I literally can't draw. Fingers are so hard. But then you allegedly made artwork that you then later retracted. But initially, you allegedly made artwork that highly skilled artists would create. You know, it's a bit interesting. And another commenter adds, this girl started saying how disappointed she was in me for questioning her. Then she started attacking me. She didn't have any arguments, just straight up attacked and twisted my words. She was all bothered by me rewriting my debut novel at the same time as her, even though I'm writing a fantasy book and she a romance one. She also straight up stole one of my posts. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below as to whether you think it's AI, whether you think it's not. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy or on Ko-fi and on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. I'm rushing because my camera keeps overheating and dying because I'm in China right now and it's hot. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in another video before my camera dies again. Bye!